So we will start with the new chapter, family and kinship. The other chapters like work and economic life, we will do. I just need 1 day for this chapter. And then politics and society, I just need 1 or 2 days or 1.5 days maximum. We will do that. Religion also. So these we will do after completing family and Indian thinkers and some other important topics like social movement. We will cover these topics faster. Okay, so this is very important topic, family, kinship. From here you will get 2 to 3 questions. So here this exact same syllabus is there in your paper 2 also. Okay, so this discussion I am taking from the perspective of chapter 1, paper 1 as well as paper 2. So we will not be discussing family and kinship separately in paper 2. For example, kinship, we need to see family, household, marriage, okay, types and forms of family, lineage and descent. This also exactly the same you will see in paper 2. Patriarchy, sexual division of labor, I won't be doing it now. What I will do is I will do this with respect to women movement. Okay, so when we discuss about women movement, the reasons for women movement, we will discuss patriarchy. And then when we discuss about patriarchy, I will talk about sexual division of labor. Why division of labor is there on the basis of sex? Why females are attached to certain category of jobs and males are doing certain other category of jobs, right? So that is what patriarchy and sexual division of labor or sexual division of labor. So contemporary trends also we'll discuss now. So this particular topic I will be covering along with social movements. That is from your. There is actually no difference from paper 1 and paper 2. Maybe you can say paper 2 is international perspective. We will have to take care. For example, in case of paper 2, we discuss about joint family. The same thing when it comes to paper 1, we talk about extended family. Otherwise, there is no difference. In paper 2, we specifically talk about Indian context and we use Indian thinkers for understanding family. In paper 1, we generally use, when we understand family, household, marriage, the definitions and all. In general, if you try to see, I use all the foreign thinkers only. But when it comes specifically to paper 2, we talk about Indian thinkers like M.N. Srinivas we use, S.C. Dubey, and those kinds of Indian thinkers is what we are going to use in paper 2. That's the only difference. Otherwise, all these concepts are same. So marriage is a very important institution which eventually leads to establishment of family. So it is an institution constituting of complex of norms and values woven together to fulfill a purpose. Technically, marriage is defined as a legally recognized arrangement. So this is one important point, recognition. Legally recognized arrangement between 2 or more individuals that carries certain rights and obligation. So individuals, recognition, rights and obligations. So these are the key 3 words that you need to discuss here. So recognition, individual, rights and obligation. So in case of marriage, some kind of recognition is required, right? That is the first and most important thing. Some kind of recognition. It can be cultural, it can be legal. Traditional society, more towards cultural. Modern society, more towards legal. Most of the marriages which are culturally recognized will be recognized legally also, but the vice versa is not true. Some marriages may be legally recognized, for example intercaste marriage, but it is not recognized by culture. You know, right? We have already discussed about this caste endogamy, right? Brahmin, Kshatriya. Brahmin have to marry from this caste. So caste endogamy is the marriage rule in India, but Brahmin Kshatriya marriage is allowed legally. So legal recognition is there, but cultural recognition is not there. Again, within the caste itself, I have told you Gotra or clan exogamy, Gotra exogamy. That is another marriage rule which was proposed by Guri. It is there. It is actually the marriage rule which is practiced in India. Caste endogamy means married within the caste. Clan exogamy, marry outside the clan or Gotra. Why marrying outside the Gotra? Because it is, the assumption is that the people in this group are blood related. They all consider one common ancestor. Okay, so they are the descendants of a common ancestor. So if it is common ancestor, they all are blood related. So you won't marry from within. That is clan exogamy. Okay, so you have to marry outside the clan. but legally you can marry within the clan also. Now, culturally, this clan exogamy is actually practiced in North India only. When it comes to South India, it is not practiced. In South India, you can marry your uncle also, not an issue. Okay, so I hope you understood. So this, what I need to tell you is, in the context of recognition, some cases which are legally recognized may not be recognized by culture, but cultural recognition mostly is actually accepted legally, except those child marriages, etc. Okay, so individuals, so 2 or more individual is required. Generally it is 2 individual of different sex. It can be 2 individual of same sex also, right? So the current society, if you see modern society, the legal recognition towards this also you can see. It can be more than 2 individual, right? It can be 3 individual also, 4 individual also, polygamy. Okay, so then rights and obligations. Certain rights and obligations will be there in marriage. So when we discuss about recognition, in all societies, marriage is not simply an individual affair. Some kind of recognition is must. The recognition in present society is understood at 2 levels. Cultural, that is, if the relationship is normatively defined, okay, that means what is decided by the culture, norms and values. Legal, when the relationship is established by law. In most of the society, cultural recognition is also considered as legal recognition, but the vice versa is not true. For example, in the case of traditional society, cultural recognition is must, right? Kha Panchayat. So mainly when you talk about Kha Panchayat, what is their issue? It is not actually inter-caste marriage. This is not their main issue. The main issue for this Kha Panchayat is actually this marry from within the clan. This is main issue. Okay, so like the rules you can see, village exogamy. Why you say village exogamy? It is actually an extension of clan exogamy or gotra exogamy only. What will happen is, the entire group of people who are related, the descendants of common ancestor, they prefer to live together in a village. So the entire village will be descendants of a common ancestor. They all are related. So if clan exogamy is what you are supposed to practice, you cannot marry from this clan, right? So here the village means the clan only. So you cannot marry from the village. You have to marry outside the village. So this is village A, you have to marry from other village. Why? Because all these people are related, all these people are related. That is how the system. Okay, so instead of clan or gotra exogamy, sometimes you will see what? Village exogamy also. But it is the same as that of this. Why? The same members prefer to live in a area, so that will become a village. That will be a village. So village exogamy is what actually supported. That is a marriage rule. So mostly this Kha Panchayat is actually happening. Who are the main members of the Kha Panchayat? The elders in the village. So you cannot marry from the village. So when 2 people are loving from the village and then when they are going away or when they are eloping, then the problem comes. Because this is something against the honor of that particular group. So since it is against the honor of that group, to prevent or protect the honor of that group, they will be killed. That is why honor killing. But some people will talk in terms of caste, inter-caste marriage is related to honor killing. You can say because that is also against the honor. But theoretically, the actual concept of honor killing is this only. It is related to clan or the gotra. See, marrying outside the caste is not a big issue. But marrying within the clan is a big issue because you are marrying your own brother and sister. So that is the most important issue, and that is considered as actually against the honor of that community. So that is why this honor killing word is there. Okay, so I hope you understood this. Honor killing is mainly related to clan exogamy when the people are marrying from the same village or same gotra or same clan. Inter-caste marriage also nowadays, if you see, when you are reading the newspapers and all, people write it in that way because they are not sociologists. They don't know. They consider like that only, but theoretically this is correct. But even if you are writing this, it is fine. In case of GS paper, you cannot specify this and you cannot write this because the person who is evaluating the paper also may not be knowing exactly what is honor killing. He also may understand that in this terms. Okay, so in GS you don't want to be very specific, but in sociology you need to be specific, and if you know that concept, you need to write that concept. This is exactly the correct concept. Okay, so inter-caste marriage not permitted, inter-clan marriage permitted. Problem is when this happens, inter-caste marriage happen and within clan marriage happen, these are problems. But legally these are recognized also. Okay, so now there is a trend towards what? There is a trend towards legal marriages. In Western complex society, marriage is considered as becoming a subjective affair, and the subjective interpretation of this relationship is gaining more importance. For example, in the case of live-in families or gay parent families, it is a subjective interpretation is what more important in the present society. Individuals, that is the second part, right? Although marriage is done between individuals, but it results in formation of much wider kin group. In this way, marriage is not only defining linkage between individuals, but also between groups, right? It is not only connecting two individuals. One family, entire family here and one entire family here, they all are getting connected. The most common form of marriage include two individuals of different sex, but there is a recognition to other forms like more than two individuals or even two individuals of same sex, right? So more than two individuals, that is polygamy. Polygamy again, which you can see in different dimensions, polyandry, polygyny, right? So, and two individuals of same sex like lesbian or gay parent family, all these are examples. In terms of worldwide trend, the universal acceptance is of monogamous marriage, but there is a growing tolerance of other forms too. The polygamous marriage is declining. Okay, what is polygyny? Within polygamy, you can have two different. What is polygyny? Polygyny and polyandry. Polygyny means male marrying multiple wives. Okay, wife 1, wife 2, wife 3. This is polygyny. Polyandry, the female marrying husband 1, husband 2, husband 3. This is polyandry. Some tribal sections in Nilgiri, etc., are practicing this. Okay, so both are considered as polygamous, but polyandry, polygyny. The third dimension, rights and obligations. Marriage involves right and obligation, which has implications for not only individual but also groups. Means total family is connected. In most of the society, the rights and obligations are culturally defined and are also recognized by law. Modern law in due course of time is gradually modifying the traditional conception of rights and obligation, which has a deep ramification for the structure of a family. For example, among Hindus, the provision of divorce is introduced by law. Marriage is considered as something which is very sacrosanct. Okay, divorce was not available. Divorce was not possible before, but through law, divorce was introduced. Similarly, the notion about rights and obligation of women is changing. What was there in earlier society and what is there in the current society is entirely different, right? When you can talk even from the point of view of sati, widow, remarriage provisions, okay? So everything is actually changing, and the obligations of female within family is also changing. Finally, even in the context of subjective interpretation of marriage, the observation of rights and obligations is considered essential. Everywhere marriage is being solemnized through rituals generally defined by religion. Religion defines the various rituals which need to be performed in order to establish the rights and obligation. Thus, there are different forms of marriage on the basis of different rituals. So there are different forms of marriage like Hindu marriage, Muslim marriage, etc. on the basis of different rituals. Edmund Leach, I have just added one thinker here. It was actually originally not there in my note. So Edmund Leach considered marriage to be bundled of rights which include both kinship right and domestic rights. Like he is talking about certain right legitimating offspring, okay, and then socially approved access to spouse sexuality, labor and property. So sexual gratification, that is another aspect. Establishment of a final relationship between persons and between group. A final relation means marriage relation, okay. Consanguinal relation means blood relation. So here establishment of a final relationship between persons and between the groups. Two groups are getting involved here. Domestic rights provides the basis of formation of household, division of labor, etc. However, contemporary trends in marriage have rendered many of the above definitional aspects as incomplete. Okay, nowadays this particular definition will not actually fit into you. There is no question of rights and obligation. Okay, it is totally subjective interpretation. For example, marriage is no longer an affair concerned with adults of opposite sexes only. Anyway, that I have before also we have discussed. Nowadays what we can see, it is more subjective interpretation. Okay, it is subjective interpretation of the individual. If two individual of both sex or same sex, if they decide to live together, what is the problem? Okay, it is also no longer a mechanism for procreation only. Recognizing such limitations, Edmund Leach has commented that all universal definitions of marriage are vain. Despite such limitations, above definitions still hold good for most of the sections of society. That is just one line to support marriage. Okay, now there are different types of marriage: civil marriage, court marriage, monogamy, polygamy. Monogamy means single marriage, polygamy means multiple. Polyandry is prevalent among the some tribal sections. Okay, instances of polyandry is coming down. Then Muslim personal law allows up to 4 wives, so that is polygyny. Endogamy, exogamy. I have told you what is endogamy rule. Caste endogamy. You have to marry from within. Exogamy, that is clan or gotra exogamy. So you will see Sapinda exogamy, that is again related to clan only. Okay, so you can read this, you will understand what all things I have told you exactly the same. Arranged marriage, love marriage, anuloma, pratiloma. We have discussed this in stratification. What is anuloma? Pratiloma, this negative word itself will tell you coming down. So what is that? A Brahmin woman marrying a Kshatriya or Vaishya or Shudra. It can be Kshatriya woman marrying a Shudra also. It can be Vaishya marrying a Shudra also. It can be Brahmin marry from the top to bottom. That is what pratiloma. Or what is that anuloma or hypergamy? Pratiloma, what is this? Hypogamy. Hypogamy. Just write it here, hypogamy. Okay. So anuloma is the opposite. Improving the status. Hyper, going up. See, these are different preferential marriage. Now remarriage. Remarriage, again you can write serial monogamy. Serial monogamy means what? Monogamous, like X and Y, they got married, divorced, Z, okay, divorced, A, divorced, B, divorced, C, like that. So in all these contexts it is monogamy. At a point of time only one wife is there. But this is what you call a serial monogamy. Okay, and then nowadays you can see the trend of cadre based marriage. All these are, you can write, these are the types of marriage. Now when you talk about kinship we will discuss in detail with the topic of lineage and descent. Then you will understand in a much better way. But here just try to understand what is kinship. Kinship means it's just a group which involves the relatives, the blood connected relatives. So when we talk about kinship, we are talking about a group of people who are related in one way or the other. They all are considered they have a common ancestor. They all derive their identity from a common ancestor. So they form a kinship group. So kinship means it is related to relatives. The way you define your relatives, that is what kinship system. Kinship system is actually the way you recognize or take your relatives. Okay. So the kinship system refers to a set of persons recognized as relatives, either by virtue of blood relationship, technically called as consanguinity. So consanguinal relation means blood relation, or by virtue of marriage relationship. Marriage relationship, that means affinal, right? That is through what is called as affinal or conjugal. So this word is very important for you. Now onwards we may see this word. Consanguinal means blood relation. Affinal and conjugal means marriage relation. Nowadays they also include relationship based on adoption. Okay. There are also fictive kins. Fictive kin means like you consider your friends as your relative. That is what two individuals from the village, they may not be related by blood, but they will behave like brothers. Okay. So that is what fictive kins, that is a current trend that you can see. Even S.C. Dubé found that unrelated individuals behave like brothers. Again, Raymond Forth, in his understanding, further made a distinction in between effective kin and non-effective kin based upon extent of regular contact between kinship members. So, see, we have a larger group of relatives, right? But with whom we maintain the contact, that is effective kin. If you don't maintain the contact, that is non-effective kin. So these are the 5 important bases of kinship. We will discuss this in detail. So sex, okay, generation, closeness, intimacy, blood relation, lineage. So all these we will discuss under lineage and descent sections again, because when we discuss about lineage, we have to discuss starting from kinship. And lineage and descent is a very important and potential mains question. Most of the students prepare that without actually understanding the meaning. Just mug it up and then go and write. Okay. So here we will see that this in detail. So kinship means what? Kinship is all about relatives. Okay. In that, these are the main elements. It can be blood relation, it can be consanguinal, it can be affinal. Okay. It can be fictive kin also nowadays. And then further within relatives, effective kin, non-effective kin. So different other interpretations also you can see. Nowadays, the kin relations and the bonds are actually coming down. Otherwise, kinship group is performing a lot of function, especially in cases of life crisis. The family is doing very good job, right? So, in case of death, in case of marriage, in terms of any ceremonies, so the family will provide a lot of functions. But nowadays, many of these functions are and importance of kinship has been diluted with economic and social changes in society. Factors like nuclear family, individualism, migration, urbanization, women empowerment, etc. have changed the qualitative nature of kinship relation. I'm saying qualitative nature. In terms of relatives, they all are there. But the interaction, the way you interact and everything is actually underwent drastic change. Now, family. Marriage leads to establishment of family, which is understood as a primary group for an individual. From the societal perspective, family itself is an institution as well as an association. Right? Family is a social institution. That's why we are studying here. At the same time, it is an association. Association of whom? Association of those members in the family. So, it is family where you became the member first. This is your first association. Traditionally, family is defined as a group of people who are related by blood, marriage, or adoption, live together, are an economic unit, and bear and raise children. So, this is the traditional definition of family. So, related by blood, so consanguinal relation, a final relation, or it can be adoption. Live together, economic unit means you take care of others in the family. One person earning, it will be spending for others also, like that. Okay, they all are together. Economic unit, and bear and raise children. Produce children, raise children. According to functionalist like G.P. Murdoch, see, one of the most important person in family, you have to remember this person, you have to quote this person time and again. Whenever we discuss about family, when we discuss about function also, you will come across this person. G.P. Murdoch, one of the authority. In his social structure, he understood family as a universal social institution. He examined around 250 societies and he come up with an understanding that in all the societies, some or the other forms of family is there. That itself shows the importance of family. Okay, and he defined family as the family is a social group characterized by, you can see here, these are the characteristic: common residence, economic cooperation. So here also we have discussed live together, economic unit, and reproduction, bear and raise children. So that is almost same. And then further, it includes adults of both sexes. Okay, that means this part, at least 2 of whom maintain a socially approved sexual relationship, and 1 or more children own or adopted, so this is there, of the sexually cohabiting adults. So if possible, you can remember this definition and you can write this definition if the question is asked on family. JP Murdoch defined family like this, exactly the same, cut copy paste you can do, or simply what is possible for you, this also is fine. So in case if you cannot remember this, not that important, because the other definitions that you need to study in thinkers is more important. Okay, so you don't want to stress too much on these definitions, but if possible, obviously you can do that. Recently, family is being understood in more liberal terms. In this context, family is considered as a system of relationship in which people live together with commitment, form an economic unit, and care for any young, and consider their identity to be significantly attached to the group. So now more liberal understanding of family is what actually taken. So people live together with commitment is considered as family. So you trace your identity from there, that is again very important. So family exists in every society and it can be understood through different dimensions. So different types and forms of family exist in different society, right? In different society, different types and forms are there. So this is one question, types and forms of family. We will have to discuss this. Tomorrow we'll do that. Family exhibit different structural aspect. So this is another question. What is the structure of family and what are the changes in structure of family? Even though it is not there in the syllabus, it can be asked. We will discuss this tomorrow. Family also performs certain basic and derived functions. This also can be a question. What are the functions of family? So not in syllabus, but we will have to do it. There is a possibility that they can ask you. In fact, it was asked before also. So these three, in fact, are the three questions that we need to tackle. The family, unlike other institutions, enjoy a unique position in society and its distinctive features, according to McLever and Page. So, if possible, only if possible, you can write this. Otherwise, that definition will be enough. So, family is universal. It presents universally every non-society family is there. And then it is actually an emotional basis. So, while seeing this word, you will understand this is dealing with emotion. We have discussed this time and again in Weber. Limited size, the smallest unit is actually family. Smallest social unit is family. Nuclear position, family is occupies the central position, especially when it comes to socialization of individual. So the primary socialization agent is family. We discussed that under Mead. Responsibility of the members to each every other member. Family is also acting as a social regulation. Because of family, you won't do certain things, okay, because of family. The permanent and temporary nature of the family. So these are key points that is discussed by McLever and Page. So that's about today's test session. Actually, I want to discuss about what is marriage. We have done with different types of marriage. Okay, all these can be incorporated. Serial monogamy, then there are some concepts like reconstituted family. Okay, reconstituted family means there will be a husband, he will have a child, the wife also have a child. So they are divorced. Actually they had this wife is having another husband and this person is having another wife. They got divorced and these two will join. So this is, and they live with the kids in the previous marriage. This is reconstituted family. This is also coming under remarriage only. Another aspect you can write is weekend family. The couples meet on the weekends. Okay, so all these are different types you can write, types of marriage and types of family. Tomorrow we will see the different types of family also. Any doubts in kinship? Kinship means it is all related to your relatives, the way you define your relatives. So it can be, kinship, when we discuss, there are different ways in which you can define your relatives. I think if I want, I can only confine to my family. Father, mother and sister and me, myself. That's enough. This is your relatives, close, very close. This is the smallest unit, family. I can take maybe 3 generations. In that context, who will come? Many other people also will come. My father's brother, okay, their sons and daughters, sister and their sons and daughters, okay, and all these connected people will come. So when you go one step above generations, if you go for, or here if you consider three generation as your ancestor, then more relatives will be there. If you go one step further, 5 generation, it will be a wider kin group. Like that it will go. So kinship means it's all about defining your relatives, and for that there are 2 important concepts. The way you define your relatives, that is lineage and descent. That is our next topic. So tomorrow we will talk about household. What do you mean by household? What are the types of household? We will also talk about structure of family, function of family, and types of family. So types means mainly we need to discuss about nuclear family, okay, joint family, and then we will also discuss about contemporary trends like live-in relation, a gay parent family, okay, and then single parent family. All these concepts is what we are going to discuss. There is nothing difficult here. All these are simple. Yeah. So that's enough for today. Any doubts here in this discussion? We can discuss now. 15 minutes is there. Otherwise also any doubts from any other chapter also we can discuss now.